go with your card D8, and it's all about getting that pie chart accurately, how we work out the angles and how we actually go about drawing it. So the first example that we're going to have a look at is this one here. It's all about people's colours of cars, and we've got to represent the information in this table as a pie chart. So the first thing that we need to know is how many people this pie chart needs to represent. So I'm going to add up all of the frequencies in my table, and if you need to do that with a calculator, that's absolutely fine to speed things up. But if I add together all those frequencies, I work out that that pie chart needs to represent 60 people. So my pie chart is 360 degrees altogether, and I need to share that between those 60 people. So my next step is always to do 360 degrees divided by the total number of people in order to figure out how many degrees represents one person in my pie chart. So 360 divided by 60 means that 6 degrees represents one person. So if 6 degrees represents one person, I can figure out how many degrees represents my 20 people with red cars by multiplying that 20 by 6. So if I times that by 6, I'm going to find that the angle that I require for red cars in the table is going to be 120 degrees. And that's my next step. I'm going to multiply each one of these by the answer that I got here in order to figure out how many degrees each of those sections needs to be. So 15 times 6 is 90 degrees, 12 times 6 is 72 degrees, 6 times 6 is 36 degrees, and 7 times 6 is 42 degrees for the others. And you should always do a quick check. Do they add up to 360? Will it fill up the pie chart? And it will. So we're okay so far. Now we've got to actually draw the pie chart. So let's get our protractor and let's pop it in the middle of the circle. And the circle will always be drawn for you. You just need to use it in your exam. So if I pop the protractor right in the middle of that circle for my pie chart, the first section that I need to measure out is 120 degrees. Now 120 degrees, that's an obtuse angle, so I'm going to measure around past the right angle to get to 120 degrees there on the inside scale, and I'm going to mark that off for my first section. There we go, 120 degrees, and that section is to represent, if I move that away, the red cars. So that's my first section done. And I just keep going now. I keep adding sections to my pie chart, just remembering that each time I draw a new section, I need to rotate my protractor so that the 0 lines up with the new line, with the line that I just drew. So I'm going to line up the 0 there, and then my next section needs to be 90 degrees, a nice right angle. So I can draw that in from there. I can draw in that line through 90 degrees. And that's going to represent my blue cars. Don't forget to rotate the protractor. So now I want the protractor to line up with the line that I've just drawn. Oops, a little bit more. I want the line to line up with the line that I just drew. My next section needs to be 72 degrees, so it's an acute angle going around the inside scale to 72, somewhere down there. I can draw in my next line. Let's draw it with a nice straight line. Don't forget in your exam, you need to be using a pencil and a ruler for this. It's really important that it's really, really accurate when you're drawing it. So if I'm going to do a nice straight line, then I want it to go through 72 degrees, just down there, as my section for silver cars. Let's move that out of the way. So that's my silver cars. 2 more to go. The next one, rotate the protractor, line it up with the line that I just drew. The next one is going to be 36 degrees for the black cars. So let's go around to 36 degrees, just down there. And if I've done this right, the section that I've got left over will already be the right size. So let's just check I've done it right if that section's 42 degrees. Turn my protractor once more to line it with that new line. Now we can see it's pretty much exactly 42 degrees. So I know I've definitely done this pie chart right. The last thing that I need to do is to just label those last two sections. So the smaller one was for black cars, and the last one was for all those other colours. And we've got a nice accurate pie chart to represent the information that we started with. Okay, so I'll go through the second example a little bit quicker and have a look at this one where we were talking about people's favourite drinks. So I'm going to follow exactly the same steps as I followed before. My first step was add up all the numbers in that frequency column. Again, use your protractor if you, use your calculator if you need to, and you'll find that that frequency totals up to 240 people in this pie chart. My next step was share the 360 degrees between the 240 people. So do 360 divided by 240 tells us we've got 1.5 degrees this time for each person. So to work out the angle for each section of the pie chart, this time I'm going to multiply each of my frequencies by 1.5. So 62 times 1.5 gives me 93 degrees. 98 times 1.5 gives me 147 degrees. 34 times 1.5 gives me 51 degrees. 38 times 1.5 gives me 57 degrees. And 8 times 1.5 gives me 12 degrees for each of those sections. And again, a quick check just to make sure, do they add up to 360 degrees? Yes, they do. So I'm not going to go through the whole rigmarole of drawing the pie chart again, but if you've done it correctly, then we've got our 93 degrees, our 147, 51, and when we measure out our 57 for water, we know we've done it right if that section that's left over is 12 degrees and it's the correct size to represent the other. So the difficult bit really is working out how big that angle needs to be. Once you've got that, if you're happy with drawing angles, producing the pie chart itself is quite straightforward. And if you need a little bit of help with drawing and measuring angles, then there is another video that you can watch that will help you with that skill. So now we've seen these examples, it's your turn to have a go at constructing some pie charts. There's two different questions that you can have a go at. People's favourite food, people's favourite football teams. If you press pause on the video, have a try, and as soon as you're ready to see how you've done, press play again and the answers are going to pop up for you.